So today I want to talk to you guys about something a little bit different. I haven't done anything on gear in a while, and I just got this last week. If you're unfamiliar, this is the Townsend Labs Sphere L22 modeling microphone, and it's a really powerful piece of gear. This is by no means a full review or a demo of this mic. Today I just want to talk to you guys about why I bought it, how I intend to use it, who it might be useful for, and to answer a couple of questions that I had to go digging around for when I actually got it the other day. I think this presents a great opportunity to talk about when and why to buy a new piece of gear. For me, the two biggest reasons that I buy a new piece of gear are improved workflow and improved quality. I think that this mic has the possibility to check both of those boxes off for me. If you're unfamiliar with the Sphere, it's a modeling microphone. What that means is with this one microphone, you're able to replicate the sound of all kinds of different mics, both modern and vintage, depending what's available in the plugin. On top of the models that Sphere includes when you buy this microphone, if you're a Universal Audio user, you're also able to buy two additional microphone packs, the Bill Putnam collection and the Ocean Way collection, which essentially allows you to expand your virtual mic locker. If you are a Universal Audio user, you're able to insert the Sphere plugin right into your signal chain where you can monitor with it but not print it to record. One of the notable features about the Sphere is that it allows you to record a dry signal going in and then apply the microphone modeling after the fact. This means you don't have to choose and commit to a sound during the recording process, and you've got the option later on to choose a different microphone if you wish. I think this can be a bit of a blessing and a curse. I think there's something to be said for committing to a sound right off the bat and just going with it. For somebody like me who's relatively new to recording, I think this could be a huge benefit, however. It'll allow me to just focus on the performance, get the part down, and then be able to sample some different mics after because I don't really know what all the different mics sound like. I have a pretty limited microphone collection and I've never had the opportunity to sit down with a number of different microphones to hear what they sound like. I think being able to do this in post is going to be really great because it's going to allow me some flexibility, and it's also going to allow me to understand what different microphones sound like in different situations. The number one reason I purchased this was so that I have the option to choose some different microphones depending on the recording project, and just so that I could learn what those microphones sound like. I'll mainly be using it on acoustic guitar and vocals because my electric guitars are largely done with the Universal Audio aux or my Line 6 HX Stomp. However, I am pretty excited to put on a cabinet and see what it can do. Something that's unique about this microphone is the fact that it records in stereo. In addition to the normal plugin you also get Sphere 180, which is a true stereo plugin that allows you to pick two different microphones, one for the front capsule and one for the back capsule. I was a little bit confused about this at first. My thought was that if you put the microphone up like they suggest, like this, and you're recording one microphone from the front capsule and one microphone from the rear capsule, you're essentially recording into what's considered the null of the microphone here, since the capsules face front and rear, which is the point where the least sound gets into the microphone, and generally it doesn't sound that great. I did find a really great video explaining how and why this works. I'll link it down below. There's information about how to record in stereo as well as pretty much everything else the mic can do. Essentially what happens is when you open the Sphere plugin, you have an option to choose off-axis correction, which means it's going to correct for the fact that you're actually recording off the front of the microphone into the side and make it feel like you're actually recording directly into the capsule. I think this is kind of cool because it opens you up to the possibility of putting two different microphones on, say, an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar. For someone like me who's pretty much exclusively recorded my electric guitars digitally, this could be a really great opportunity for me to try out some different microphones on a real cabinet and see what they sound like. I guess one of the big questions is, if you're gonna only own one microphone, is this the one? I think for me it's a no. With the Sphere, yes, you can capture a stereo signal with two different microphones effectively. However, they're going to be in the same place on the guitar. For me, I'd like to be able to have one at the neck, say, and one down at the body, or one at the neck and another one over the player's ear, and this doesn't give you those options. That being said, I think there are a lot of situations where this could be your one microphone. I just recorded a couple guitar parts with the Sphere, one of them being more of like a mono feel, although it does record the front and back capsule, and then the other 2 in stereo. And I wanted to show you guys my logic session. I'm going to show you what it looks like when I open the plugin and how everything changes as I manipulate the plugin. We'll start with the mono, or maybe more appropriately called the single mic take, just because I think it's a little bit more straightforward. And I'm just going to be using the regular Sphere plugin that comes with it. Not going to bother looking at the Ocean Way or the Bill Putnam collection today. Okay, so here's what it sounds like with the plugin completely turned off. This is essentially just the Sphere recording in its stereo field with the front and the back of the microphone. And you're going to notice that it's in true stereo here. So you can actually see here, or down here even better, maybe like the left side is louder than the right side right now. And that's because the left is the front of the capsule and the right is the rear of the capsule. Okay, so if I go in and I've got the Sphere plugin loaded here, I'm going to turn it on. Now, what you'll notice right away, I'm going to play the same thing. I'll skip ahead a bit. So although we're still seeing it in stereo here, it's evened out. So the Sphere plugin does that automatically. And so I can go through and I can try a couple different microphones so you can see what it sounds like. This one was really straightforward. So this is a small diaphragm condenser. There's a ribbon, you can really hear the difference there. A couple more ribbons. 57. Let's skip through to so pretty big difference between, especially when you're going from like a large diaphragm or a small diaphragm into the ribbons or something like that. And that's without even playing with any of the other parameters. I do actually have a little bit of a low cut on. I just found it a bit boomy. It's a Rosewood Dreadnought, so that's just kind of the nature of that guitar. Now, if I were to play with the on axis or off axis, you'll be able to hear. So that's essentially like if we were recording into the rear of the microphone, and you can actually see here, if you watch this arrow move around. So that's at 180 degrees. And this is like recording into the side. And then back to 0 degrees right in the front of the capsule. So that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the stereo tracks as well. So the stereo thing confused me a little bit. I wasn't totally sure how we were going to record into the side of a microphone and get a good sound. So something I noticed when I got the mic right away is that the capsule or the diaphragm inside is actually a little bit crooked. So you'll notice on the front of the mic, we've got this circle here. To me, that means center, and then we've got some other lines that are a little bit, off axis. So if we're wanting to get the clearest and the sound with the best response, we want to be recording directly into the center of the diaphragm. Now, I'm going to try and show you here. If I light it up inside, when your sound source is pointed directly at the center or at that circle, it's a little bit off axis, and I noticed you actually have to rotate the mic a tiny bit this way in order to be bang on in the middle of the diaphragm, almost closer to that first line over here. So what happened when I set the mic up this way originally, to try and capture the stereo field, what I did was I just used that black bar to put dead center, and I assumed that that would give me a nice even stereo spread. And you could see there in my program that one of the tracks ended up being quite a bit louder. So what I ended up doing was I just rotated it, I think this way a bit. There, you can actually see the diaphragm in behind the black bar. I rotated it so that that was directly on the center of my instrument and visually matched up the left and the right signals. And that seems to have provided a much better result. I'm not sure if that's just the mic that I got or if they're all like that, but it's something worth noting, and I'll show you the differences here. So if I go in and I show you the first track I did, and I take off the plugin, it sounds like this. So that's one side. That's the other side. And you can hear here, so this down here is the right side, and you can see that here. It's quite a bit louder. Now if I go down to this guy here. And again, this is just the mic on its own without any kind of plugin on it. You can see that one's much more even. So I think that's definitely something worth pointing out. If your mic is like this as well, maybe you need to just rotate a little bit if you're getting that same issue. Let's take a listen to that second stereo track when we turn the plugin on. So when we open the plugin, the first thing we're going to want to do is turn on the off-axis correction by clicking this in button here. And here's what it sounds like. So to me, that's pretty nice and even, both on the left and the right. I'm going to unlink those microphones. And now I can change the left and the right mic. So let's do something that you're going to notice a drastic difference on here. So let's put on a ribbon. There we go. There's like a Coles ribbon. And I don't know, let's use a small diaphragm condenser. Where are those guys? Nope, not that one. There we go. Let's hear that. So the ribbon, really dark. And there's a small diaphragm, it's nice and bright. Right, so you can pick your pan. I can give it more width. So again, there's the ribbon, small diaphragm, centered. And the same thing, I can go through and adjust, any of the low cut or the other features that I'd like to. But to me, that produced a pretty great result. I'm really happy with that. Let's just take a look really quickly at what happens if we don't use the off-axis correction. So I'm going to go to my stereo track and open the plugin here. Let's just change the left microphone to something. There. So now we've got two different mics going. Everything's set pretty much where it was before. So this is no off-axis correction. It's pretty roomy. It still sounds okay. But that really brings it to life. To me, that brings out a lot more of the high ends, like you hear if you're recording right into the center of the diaphragm. And off. Move the axis around and back in. It really adds nice brightness and depth. So I was definitely a little intimidated with the mic at first, although after spending a day or two with it, it's actually pretty straightforward once you dig into it. The plugin makes a lot of sense. Like I mentioned, I found that video quite helpful. It's linked down in the description below. And I'm just going to leave you guys with a couple of my favorite sounds at the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are modeling mics the way of the future, or will analog always be better? Could you see yourself incorporating a mic like this into your workflow some of the time or all of the time? And if you've got some experience with this mic, I'd love to know what you think as well. Thanks again for watching, guys. I truly appreciate your time and attention, especially in such a noisy world. If you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and make some music.